Hi, I'm Nick Armstrong, and this is Dear Fort Collins. It's a podcast to discuss issues in and around Fort Collins, featuring experts from the city and the county and elected officials. Our goal is to help make you a more informed neighbor of Fort Collins. In particular, this series of the podcast, we are interviewing city council candidates and Poudre School District board candidates as well. Now, I ran for city council in 2021, and I know how hard it was to connect with every single neighbor and spread the word about what my campaign stood for and why I was wanting to run. I wanted to give each of our candidates the opportunity to connect with you in a medium where you might be comfy on the couch or you might be driving in your car, but able to listen on your own time and get to know a little bit more about these candidates and why they're running and what they stand for so that you can make a more informed choice as a voter. Now, I do serve on the Parks and Rec Board for the City of Fort Collins, as well as the Box Elder Sanitation Board and my neighborhood HOA board. I'm not here in any of those capacities. I'm here as a private citizen, and my hope is that using this podcast, you can become a more informed voter and make a more informed choice when you go to the ballot. With that, let's bring in our candidate. And we're here with Scott. Scott, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Scott Schoenbauer. I'm running for Poudre School District, District A, and happy to be here. Nick, thanks so much for having me. This is a great thing you're doing for the community.
Thank you, Scott. Why are you interested in running for the Poudre School District, and what motivated you to run for public office?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I have three kids that are in the district or went through it. Two of them are in college now. One is still in the district. So definitely I was involved growing up. Kids went through Johnson, Weber, and Rocky, and did a lot of coaching. But also I run a small business, and I've seen recent graduates from Poudre School District as they're coming out, and just have a feeling that there's a lot of lack of preparedness for the real world. I've seen it in my own kids. Financial literacy is something that I think would do a lot of good for a lot of people. I know for myself, I would have liked to understand the scary world of credit cards and understand how taxes work, all that type of thing. So I feel like that's one of the things that motivated me. As I've gotten more involved, definitely want to help kids reach their full potential and really go out and achieve their dreams. So academic excellence is something else that's motivated me to really promote.
Can you share a specific project or issue that you'd like to tackle if elected?
Yeah, absolutely. There's one big issue I think that's really been a big motivator of mine, and that's distraction-free learning in the schools. When my daughter was I think probably a sophomore, she was taking a tough math class, and that was usually about 10 to 11:30 was when that class was. And I'd get texts from her saying, "Hey, who do you think I should put in for my fantasy football quarterback?" And I'm like, aren't you in math right now? And she's like, "Oh yeah, but it's fine." And I'm just thinking, wow, she's struggling in this class, but she's got her cell phone out and is distracted. I think that's a big problem for a lot of kids. I know my youngest, who's a junior now, talks about it. He says a kid in his class watched the entire series, not just a couple episodes, but the entire series of Breaking Bad during one quarter of classes. And it's a great show, but not something you want to have them watching in class. So in terms of getting those academic scores up, we need to remove the distraction. I have a policy of out of sight, out of mind. Keep it in your bag. You can keep it with you for safety reasons, but it can't be out on your desk. And everybody has to have that consistent policy. Right now, it's a free for all in the classrooms. And there's cool teachers and there's the mean teachers. And I think we need to remove that from a decision that the teachers have to juggle with, or grapple with. So that's one of the big issues I have. I think there's kind of a universal understanding of that with parents that is a major problem. There's a ton of social anxiety and mental health issues that are caused by social media. Lots of bullying happening there, ideation of all kinds of things. So if we can just give the kids a break for those 7 to 8 hours, I think that's going to do them a world of good. So that's one of my biggest issues.
Scott, what makes you uniquely qualified to represent the district?
Well, that's a good question. So the small business perspective I have, we're ultimately the people that are the end customer of the school districts, right? We're going to be hiring these graduates, and we want to make sure that they're ready for the real world. They know the workplace expectations, but I think that the businesses can really partner with the schools in a much more active way than they're doing right now. There's lots of opportunities for apprenticeships and internships that can help get those kids ready. So I'm a big believer in that. I actually ran in 2019. And to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. And so I lost, and I think it was the best thing that could happen for me, because what I did is I just said, you know what, I don't know the district like I should. So I took a deep dive and got involved in 3 different committees. The district advisory board is the parents committee. And I worked my way through that over the last 4 years and just finished being the chair of that committee. And that's where parents are engaged with a lot of the policies. They learn about a lot of policies in the district and give feedback directly to the school board. And I thought that was really very rewarding, and proud of the work I did there. I was also on the budget advisory committee, so I have a deep understanding of how the budget works. And then finally, I'm on the district accountability committee. I'm the representative of the business community for that, and really excited about that committee as well. So it's really helped me get a deep understanding of the district, and I feel like I know what I'm doing now.
Who do you consider a role model in the realm of public service, and what have you learned from them?
I love this question. This is a tough one, but I did do. You had mentioned this earlier, and I did some thinking on it. And honestly, I'm a huge history buff, and I would say Abraham Lincoln. And for a lot of reasons, I mean, self-made man, really kind of the ultimate example of the American dream. And I think that's something that a lot of our kids could be inspired by. You know, he read voraciously and really learned a lot. And the best thing about him, what inspires me, is that he was not afraid to engage across the aisle. And his cabinet, they called it the team of rivals. These were people that he ran against. They didn't like each other, but he recognized that they had a lot of good ideas, and he wanted to engage with them, and they saved the country literally as a team. And so I think that's something that is missing in today's environment, and we need to have that civil but in-depth discussion. And I think that's gone from a lot of areas of government, and I think we can start saving it at the ground level here, the grassroots level, with school boards. So I'm really inspired by what he had to say. And one of the big things is, if it's a good idea, if you can convince somebody it's a good idea, that is the way to make change. A good idea should not have to be forced on somebody. So I think he really taught that to the country.
Scott, if you could have any superpower to help your community, what would it be?
Is this related to your passion for Comic-Con?
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little? Yeah. Well, we'll have a debate of Marvel versus DC, because I'm a huge comic book guy myself. So one of these days.
We'll save that for the next episode.
That's right. That's right. I won't say, I want to be Daredevil, even though he is my favorite character. Ruined by Ben Affleck, by the way. But I think you get that. But I would say superpower for the community, to give back to the community, would be to be able to see people's true, almost like mind reading, to see their true heart. I think there's a ton of just vilification out there, labeling, assumptions, things like that. And I think it would be really good if we could all see each other for who we are and what motivates us. So that's the beauty of this school board race. You'll hear extremists on both sides, like, oh, we can't elect the socialist, or, oh, we can't elect the book burners. I've met everybody and interacted with everybody who's running this go around, and they're all really good people. And I think we all have a passion for public education and want to ultimately get the grades up, the scores up, and get kids to achieve what they are most capable of achieving, their highest potential. And it's just a difference of opinion on how to get there, but we all want the same thing.
What's one piece of advice that you've received but you didn't take and you wish that you had?
This is more of a personal thing, career-wise. I had a couple opportunities. I went to CSU for my undergrad in management, and then I stuck around because I to be honest, wasn't prepared for the real world myself. So I went to grad school straight after undergrad and got a marketing degree. And I actually got to meet the president of the Denver Nuggets, and had a great conversation with him. He's like, "Hey, when you're ready to graduate," I think I was in year 1 of grad school. He's like, "You know, I think you might have what it takes to be in sports marketing. Here's my card. Give me a call." And my professor was like, "That's a big deal. You should definitely give him a call." And I decided not to, because I'd heard that the entry level at sports teams is very low paying, and you just end up selling tickets, and that's your thing. But I wish I had pursued that. I'm a sports nut, and obviously you have to start at some point and then move up. And that guy is Tim Leiweke. He's moved on from the Nuggets, and he's the guy that started the Seattle the new Seattle hockey team, and he's done a lot of stuff up there as well. And this is a master marketer, and I think I would have loved doing that. But that would have taken me out of Fort Collins, and I absolutely love Fort Collins. I'm a huge CSU Ram fan, and I say on my website it's hard to be a Ram fan these days, but not after that Boise State game. I am fired up now. So
Scott, where can we learn more about you and your campaign? And what is there anything else that you would like to tell the listener to the podcast?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, my website is scott4psd.com. You can check out my there are 4 main priorities that I have. The cell phones is one thing, but academic excellence, parent partnerships, and real world preparation are several of those things. You can read about that, read about my family and I. And I really appreciate the time, and make sure, I would say to the, it's kind of a wrap up, make sure you're doing your research. Don't just trust what somebody tells you on Facebook, like you got to vote for these candidates. Actually take a deeper dive, because these are all good people, but there are some differences. And I think it's important for us to take a look at that, pick the right people, and be able to kind of bring PSD back to where it used to be. I think there's been a breakdown of trust that we need to really rebuild, especially if you follow the paper in the last couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to bringing a fresh perspective to the school board, and thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you're enjoying this series of learning more about your candidates. It's so important just to get out there and vote, but to do so from a place of knowing who you're voting for and why you're voting for them, it's a really comforting thing. I'm Nick Armstrong, and I can't wait to see you next time.